Welcome to the Santa Ana Industrial Lead. But wait, this is something different. Welcome to my new side project, a small shelf layout, or diorama if you will, called Violet Alley. The name Violet Alley is what it was called back when the Southern Pacific and Union Pacific shared this spur. At one time there were many customers on it, but now there is only one. With that, let's check out some of the specifications and measurements of this small shelf switching layout. When I started thinking about building a second layout, there were some hard requirements, or must-haves, and then some secondary goals, or nice-to-haves. You can see those on the screen now. The first and most important reason I wanted a second layout was to be able to come down here and do some quick switching operations without having to clean off or prepare the main layout. I also wanted a nice clean look to the layout for wife acceptance factor. And then I also wanted to be able to showcase my growing collection of boxcars. You can see some secondary goals on the right side of this page. So now let's look at the layout plan and how it reflects the current prototype operations. On the map above, you can see J Yard to the left with a circle around it, and then the customer City Fibers at the bottom right. It is very close to the yard. Here is a zoomed in shot where you can see the spur going underneath the overpass and heading down about 1,000 feet to the customer City Fibers. To the extreme left, you will see 3 tracks also running under the overpass and next to that big building. Those 3 are the Alameda Corridor, which we'll talk about a little later in the video. Here is my version of the layout. In a space of approximately 5 feet by 12 feet. The location is Vernon, California, which is just south of Los Angeles. My scale is HO scale. And finally, in the image above, you can see how the prototype overlays my layout. It's fairly close, but not exact. So now let's take a closer look at the 6 structures that I am modeling. So this is the main reason for this spur. The only industry left on the Violet Alley spur at this time is City Fibers. You can see it's a very large structure. I'll flash in some prototype photos. It's got a very unique front. And then there's all different sorts of little pieces to the building or segments that I have to model. And it's got this big door where the boxcars get pushed in. In actuality, I believe this industry, they drop the cars through the door, out the other door, and there's a little spur behind the building, in between some other buildings. And I believe they park 4 or 5 cars behind this building. And then the forklift, as they load them, the forklift pushes them out to here. To this area, where ultimately the yard job, the J Yard job, will come pick them up. I have a photograph of showing a tow motor forklift pushing a car out of this building. So as for the building, at this point, it's just a mock-up of foam board, cuts, some styrene pieces that I just threw on, like the roof there. I did make a sign that I just printed it out and glued it on styrene up here and stuck it with blue tack. So this structure I don't know if it'll be hard. I'm not sure. So I'll figure it out when I do it. One kind of unique thing I did is, as you can see here, I don't know if you can see it. Let me zoom in there. I'm sure I'll just knock this over. So the load kind of below grade. So I cut out a little chunk of the foam there, and then I have like a styrene piece, kind of a ramp, so it goes down into the kind of loading pit. You can see a little bit back there. That's where they would load there, and there's all kinds of stuff around it, which I'll put in there. But I thought that you don't really see like the loading pits like that modeled very often, as far as I know. So I just wanted to put it in there. That's partially why this section isn't glued down yet. Like you can see the foam here, and there's no fascia because I was figuring out what to do with that spot. So I'll probably wait a little bit to glue that all down. And this piece of track here isn't, or I think it's this one here, isn't glued down yet either. So the first non-rail serve structure I want to show you is this long, I think it's 2 industries actually. I know it's Angelus Mill Supply here. And then I'm not sure what this half is. It's had different names from what I can tell in Google Maps, but from this side, it looks like all one building until you look really close. It looks like there's a dark spot there where I think that maybe the one building ends. So this one I'm currently working on the workbench over there. I'll show you in a second. But so I actually printed out, it's going to be photo wallpaper for the wall, because there's no way in hell I could paint that. That's just too much. Like it's really cool looking. So I'm going with photo wallpaper there. And it has like 4 different roofs. So it's got like a 2-tiered one here, a curved one there, a slanted one there, and then a regular like peaked roof there. So I plan to create all those. And then I've actually made 2 mock-up. Here's the mock-up. Like what I do is I cut foam board, and then I just glued it together with wood glue, made some supports, stands up. So this one, put this down here. Oops. So that one's from 2019. You can see how the graffiti, this label, they just blasted it over the old stuff. Some of it's the same, like you can see this tan one's the same. And then some of the stuff over here is the same. Like you could see Yunk is there, and it's there. So I thought this newer one was a little too much going on for what I wanted. Not that there's much less here, but it's a little toned down. You see a little more of the blue on the building. And it just I thought the newer one is going to draw your eye more towards this, even though in most cases cars are going to be kind of blocking that anyway. And you'll see the roofs and stuff. So I guess if I wanted to, I could make two sidewalls. So again, that's a non-rail. This time it's non-rail served. I think in the past it might have been, but at this time it is not. And here's a picture of the front of that one. It's a really cool looking old building. Just a lot of good colors and stuff. And then, so the next non-rail served building it's just a brick structure in real life. It's a little shorter. It used to be some kind of industry, I'm not sure what. So when I was researching this line, there's another part of it, kind of just maybe a mile away, that goes to the LA Times spur, it's called, where they deliver newsprint to the LA Times, and then there's a salvage yard right next to it. But there's this big building that the spur kind of goes right by. It's really long and huge. I'll put a picture up. So what I was going to do was try to make this kind of similar to that. I don't think I'm going to do all the graffiti like that one has. Maybe a little bit, I'm not sure. I'll have to figure that out. But what I'm going to do is use this. I got some ITLA brick structures. They're kind of older, but these buildings are older and they're just kind of renovated for, I think the one that I just showed you is for office space or some kind of something like that. This one, I'm not sure today what it is, but so this is going to be a brick structure, big. This is the height is right now where I have it is kind of matches what the height will be. I got a few kits, like I said. I got to get them all out and figure out exactly how I'm going to do it, but it's going to be a lot of the windows there, and the doors are going to be modern, not like these old doors, but I think it'll look pretty cool. Again, non-rail served, and in front of it's just a kind of mud, dirt, sandy area. So then back there, I've decided to, as I said, there was a salvage yard next to this building here. In real life, but it's on the other side, like a mile away. There is a scrap yard over the Alameda Corridor tracks on the other side of those tracks that's not rail served. So I think here, I'm going to kind of mix up the two. There's all kinds of salvage yards around this area. So what I want is to have a kind of like a covered, like outdoor, whatever they are, covered structure where the cars would go underneath. And it kind of would block that corner a little bit. But I don't want to make it too high, and I don't know how it's going to look with this bridge here, so I still have to mock it up and see what I'm going to do. It might end up just making like an office building, or I'm not sure. But it is rail served. I have one spur that goes back there. It'll pick up loaded scrap, deliver empty gondolas. I've always wanted a scrap yard for some reason, and I figured this is a way to do it. So we'll see how this scene develops. Like I said, I'm not sure if I want a building there or not, but I'll just have to see. So this here is the Santa Fe Street overpass. Before they built the Alameda Corridor back there, or almost every road was at grade. So once they built this, they took the road up and over the tracks. So it went over all three of these. And then what it does is it comes down and then ends up in front of City Fibers over there. So the structure is mostly done. I do have to fix this fencing, and then I wanted to add a few more graffiti tags on the supports and on the side. And I'm going to drop down because the main focus of this structure to me was underneath it from here down, because that's where we're going to see the trains running under. I'm not too concerned about the top. It just, you know, I have to build it, but let me lower this a little bit. All right. So as you can see, here's a view underneath. Try to get a little closer there. There we go. So as you can see, I really tried to grime up the bottom of the bridge there. And then this is where obviously taggers, you know, they reach up here and put graffiti, and then someone comes and paints over it. So I wanted to show some of that there. And good view there. And then there's these, real life is like a bunch of homeless people live down in here until they kick them out and they come back. I'm not sure how it is today, but there's all this dirt too. It looks like it's left over maybe from when they, I don't know, I wouldn't say it's left over since they built the bridge, but anyway, there's a bunch of dirt piles which I'm going to model, and just the fence there. So I'm going to have a lot, or kind of a cool scene underneath there, I think. And like I said, because that's where the train kind of enters the stage here, so to speak. And then the last structure is just like a tip-up warehouse that's here. It's pretty big, but it kind of comes back this way. And right before I started filming, I actually cut it in half because it looks kind of obtrusive out there. But I forgot why I left it that long. It's because when I take pictures, so you can see the bridge ends there. So that's why I had the structure kind of like out to here. And then it covers, see, it covers the edge of that bridge. So I'm probably gonna have to make like just a removable building for photographs, maybe like for photographing or video filming from here. I'll put it out there so you don't see the bridge edge of the world. And then if I'm just operating or whatever, move it over because it kind of blocks the view. But so these two tracks here are what I've called what are the Alameda Corridor, which is a huge engineering project they did in LA, I think at the early 2000s. It took a while. Maybe they started in the 90s, I'm not sure. But what it was to create kind of a express lane highway for trains from the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach to the inland container areas, which are about, I think, 10 to 12 miles away from the actual ports. They're actually maybe a mile or two up from here. So there's actually 3 tracks. BNSF and UP use them. Most of it I've seen is container traffic, intermodal, but they also use it for other freights as well. So in my layout, for this diorama, it's just scenic. They're not powered. Just gonna stage different trains there. Just gives it a different vibe, different look. Right now I have 2 intermodal trains. And in real life, it does connect here. That they kind of cross over and it leads to the yard. And it gets off and goes to the yard, like this local. But again, it's just scenic. As you can see, right now I have a westbound train. It should be the Southern Pacific one over here. And then this guy back there would be eastbound. And again, both UP and BNSF use these, so I could stage whatever, either one. So I took the camera off tripod here, and I just want to show you this. So this is the actual model I'm working on of that large white building, or the large graffiti building. So those are the, I can set this down here. Got the printouts printed out, and then I've actually cut gator foam for the support, for a couple supports here. I'm gonna try that. And the sides are styrene. I think there's 4 pieces. And then I'm securing them. I have, oops, there it goes. So I got 1/2-inch PVC board as the base, and it'll double as the dock there. So like I said, I'm just kind of figuring out, I've never really built something like this on my own. Like I've seen, you know, Lance Mintheim's blog, and he's done tons of these, so I'm kind of just learning as I go. But the gator board foam seems pretty sturdy, so I just got to get a couple of those in, and then I'll glue it all up. And the roof, right, it'll be styrene, and then I'll put some shingles or something on top of it. And like I said, it's got 4 different roof sections, and then just the front. So while it doesn't seem too complicated, it's just getting it kind of structurally sound. But like I said, that's the first one. And as for the structures, I have that one, which is a photo wallpaper scratch build. This one will be a scratch build, but just no photos. It's going to be, I have some brick textures and some other things that I'll make the sides, and The sign will be photo. And then this is a kit, actual wood kit. And then I do not know what this will be yet. Probably a scratch build, if anything. Obviously I built that. You can't buy that at a store. And this, if whatever I make here, will be probably just like the Walters warehouse pieces that you see in a lot, that I actually have in the other room quite a bit. And then, like I said, I'm probably going to be twice as long here and just move it. And that's it. 5 structures and a bridge. Some streets, which I've already mostly done. Have to change this one, but. And then I'm gonna texture this one up, put some oil like exhaust spills on the side by the curbs and stuff. Well, that's all for today, so keep an eye out for new videos. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more of Violet Alley and the Santa Ana Industrial Lead. I have a bunch of footage and photos from when I did the bench work, how I did the shelves and supports, track painting, street painting. I just need to go through it and put a few videos together. Maybe it will help anyone out there that is looking to build a small shelf layout like this. Until next time, take care. Bye now.